Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the GeekCast Radio Network.
Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek Unlimited.
And now our feature presentation.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unlimited, episode 105. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me this week is...
JFJ and Mike.
We're not sure for how long, but he'll be here.
I actually, was it episode 99 that I was on? Because I know I missed 100. Because I was...
Might have been on 101.
No, I was not on... I don't remember.
Nope, that was Dodd.
That was Dodd. I know I missed 100 because I had listened to 100. And it's one of those things where I'm in a huge transitional point in my life. You know, my mom passed away a few months ago, and I currently have roommates, and I'm trying to get out of that. So I found an apartment, but I don't actually go down there until next week to sign the lease and pay the first month's rent and get the keys and all that stuff. So I'm going to be moving soon. So it's one of the reasons why the last 4 months that my podcasting, and most of the listeners should know, I've been doing this for in total almost 7 years now, and I'm a machine. I look at podcasting as being a fun thing, but I also am a workhorse at it, and it pretty much takes up anywhere between 12 and 16 hours of my day every day. Whether it's posting stuff on the site, or whether it's doing the social media stuff, or whether it's actually recording or editing. And with roommates, you kind of can't do all that all the time. But once I live by myself, the machine will be recharged and the content will keep on coming.
Yep.
So this week you got attacked by a shark, and it's not even Shark Week.
No, that was last week.
Oh, last week.
Yeah. So I'm getting the kid ready for bed.
Specify, in case people don't know, because they know you have 2 kids.
Well, obviously it's not the younger one.
Hey, you never know.
The little one can't move very far. The younger one is not lethal at this point. The older one, on the other hand, is rambunctious all the time, especially around bedtime, and he decided that it was time to hop to attention. With a little bit of Jackie Chan kung fu fighting, because this little monster went from flat on the ground to standing straight up in like 2 seconds. There was no indication he was going to move. All of a sudden, he was up. In the process, I'm leaned over him. And because I'm putting his pants on and getting him ready and everything, and I was getting ready to read him a book, and the top of his head smacks my eye socket. Like, right on that bone that, like, overhangs over your eye, yep. Like, that part.
Yep. And
with the full force of the top of his head, and I thought he was going to cry if it weren't for the fact that I was clutching my eye, going, ah, like, and yelling. And then, he's like, it's okay, I'll kiss it, make it better. I'm like, you stay the hell away from my head. You know, I, of course, let him because it made him feel better, but then I went down and told my wife, and I was like, you got to read him a book. I said, I cannot. I says, I can't see out of my eyeball. And my eye was so swollen, I had to put an ice pack on it, and I held it there for about 3 or 4 hours, and it's went down enough, and it's changed various shades of colors over the last week. I'm almost back to normal eye color. Should be back to normal by like Tuesday. But the swelling went down like 4 days after. Managed to hide it through most of that with my sunglasses, so that was nice. But yeah, he destroyed my eye for a couple days.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't mean to laugh at Steve's pain, but I'm sorry. He first told me this story off air, and I just could not stop laughing because it's just so... Little kids, man, you just never know what the hell they're gonna do.
Nope.
The whole time you're telling me this story, I'm imagining your oldest son's head being a giant softball. Because when I was 13 or 14, my dad worked for a charter bus company here in Louisville, Kentucky, Miller Transportation. They had a softball team, and my dad played first base. And somebody hit a pop-up, and my dad thought he had his glove up. The next thing you know, he's on the ground clutching the whole left side of his face. This softball, and as most people should know, softballs are, I'm exaggerating here, but 10 times the size as a baseball. So if some batter is going to do a pop-up with a softball and it hits you smack dab in the left side of your face, the bone right under his eye, the one, like if you touch your nose and then trace your finger up to the curve, it's where your eye curves at the bottom there. So it's the exact opposite of where you're talking about. That bone broke. His nose broke, and it was like, oh my God. But it was just, in hindsight, it's just kind of so funny because my dad ended up laying on the ground, and he asked the boss, didn't I have my glove up? And they're like, nope. It's just so damaging when it comes to children and sports. And in this case, your son wasn't even playing a sport, or neither were you. It's like, hey, he pulled a T2 kind of move, because you said he pretty much moved without having the notion that he was gonna. Oh man,
Yeah, there was no concept he was going to flip.
Yeah, I said to you when you told me this the first time, reminded me of one of the Jeff Dunham specials where he's talking about his daughters, and his youngest daughter at the time, McKenna. She has this really warped mind like Jeff does, and they had one of those retractable leashes, so they got the leash on the little Chihuahua dog. She keeps setting the thing, letting it up, and then she got it to extend all the way through, set it and let it go. The leash then began to chase the Chihuahua. That's all I can think of, and the reason why I'm saying this is that I had asked you, did you film? Was a camera anywhere near your vicinity? Because all I thought of was Jeff Dunham saying, "Oh my God, somebody get the video camera. We could win $10,000. Watch what happens." Oh, poor Steve, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I had that happen anyways. On the side, just started a couple of new classes. Mm-hmm. Superhero class version 2 is almost done. It's been fun. Mm-hmm. Being a coach on that. And then also with the college courses, I've got the most interesting classes. They should help as far as the podcasting, and then I'll have some experiences. Well, there have been 2 other people in the classes, though, that were in my cinematography class, so that should be nice. Plus, it's the same teacher, so I know how he works. It's all the secondary class, the aesthetics class. Basically, we have to write 200-word reports, basically on things we watch anyway.
Oh, wow.
He says, so your homework is to watch TV, watch movies, play video games, he says, and then as we go through the aesthetics each week, you're to write about whatever you so choose. But it has to pertain to that aesthetic that we were talking about in class, so.
Right.
He says, so that's right, I'm telling you to go watch something for homework. He says, no excuses.
Yeah, not a lot of teachers are going to do that to you. Go watch something for home. Yeah. This past week, because this obviously will be out Friday, the 11th of September, I noticed a hashtag on. I notice hashtags on Facebook more than I do on Twitter, because I'm the opposite of you. I still like Twitter. I've been on Twitter since 2008 or whatever, however the hell long it's been. But I don't know, I'm on Facebook more. I interact more on Facebook, and I do news posts and whatever else more on Facebook than I do on Twitter. And one of the hashtags that I saw this past week was Stop Suicide, and it was National Suicide Prevention Week. And I don't mean to bring the show down at all, and I'm probably going to exit after I talk about this, but I am, people think depression is, some people in general think depression is just an excuse for whatever the hell is going on in your life. I can tell you right now, I've always suffered from depression, but there's been 2 major instances in my life where it's really hit me really hard, and it's really debilitating. It was when I was 14. I was living with my dad and my then stepmother. I actually tried committing suicide when I was 14. I'm not going to go into the details of how I tried, because it's really stupid at this point. But it's not an answer, folks. If you feel like you need to end your life, talk to a friend, talk to somebody, talk to a family member. I'll have Steve put out the number once I get it at the end of the show, maybe. There is a suicide prevention hotline. You can call that and talk to somebody. Talk to people if you're feeling that way, because it's not the answer. I mean, I went through the whole, people will know that I had brought my mom back down to Kentucky in December of 2012. And I had recorded a little podcast with her when we first got back down here. And from 2012 and almost up until she died, she kept saying, "Oh, I just want to die. I want to commit suicide." And it drives me crazy. It drove me crazy when she kept saying that. I'm like, but it's not the answer. It's not going to solve anything. Yes, my mom has passed away, and yes, she is no longer in the pain that she was in when she was alive, but being suicidal is, in my personal opinion, has nothing to do with this podcast or the GCRN or anything. It's a cop-out, and it's just not the answer. So if you ever have any feelings of depression, find someone to talk to. People will listen. I only wanted to bring this up on Altered Geek this week, and I'm not, like I said, not trying to bring down the show, because I noticed that, oh, hey, this event's going on. It's supposed to be Stop Suicide, National Suicide Prevention Week. What are you laughing at?
I wasn't laughing. My allergies are messing with me because the change of season.
Yay. So I just wanted to get that message out there, folks, that there are people out there that can help you. Your family can help you. Your friends can help you. And, just find someone to talk to. People will listen. So what geeky stuff do you get on the agenda this time? I think, I don't know, probably something to do with Arrow Season 4 or Flash Season 2 or, I don't know.
Well, of course you guessed right, because those are on my list. But, yeah, so, I mean, I guess we can go on that route, since you brought them up.
Sure.
Which one do you want to tackle first?
Let's...
Because obviously the trailers came out this week.
Yeah,
so.
I just saw a link to the new trailer for Flash, so I've seen one trailer, but I don't know if, like, as of right now, as of this recording, I just saw another link from comingsoon.net that there's another trailer, so I'm not sure if that's a different one or not.
They have one that it ends with a blue Flash rating at the end, but it's not
I
really
saw
anything
that
you
one.
Haven't already seen.
Yeah. I saw that one.
Rough.
There was one, oh man, where is it? I can't.
It's one where you get Jay Garrick
right
actually showing his face.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was pretty neat, having him actually show up. And then Harrison Wells is, of course, back and everybody. So, I mean, they said that you're going to see some of these people kind of show up from alternate universes.
Okay, as we're recording this, 30 minutes ago, an extended The Flash Season 2 trailer has arrived. from comingsoon.net. So there is a new trailer out as of 30 minutes ago, Thursday night, September 10th. I have not seen it yet. Well, it might have been earlier, but they
everybody's
just posted it. I just noticed it now, is what I'm saying. So far, I don't know what to think of The Flash Season 2. I'm excited for it. I love the first season. I'm excited to watch the second season because I want to see where they take the universe. As far as Arrow goes, I think it's fairly apparent that I have been severely negative about Arrow when it came to Season 3. Because Season 3 was really friggin' dark. I mean, you might as well have just dressed him up in a bat suit, really. I mean, come on. And they promised, by the end of Season 3 and the season finale, they said, oh, next year it's going to get so much brighter and all this and all that and everything else. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I've seen the new trailers, and I'm somewhat interested in Arrow again. So far, I would say Season 1, Season 2, I was really interested. Season 3, obviously, I dropped off, and I'm going to try it for Season 4. If Arrow Season 4 doesn't impress me by the 5th episode, I'll probably drop it again and then catch it. I'll marathon it when Season 4 eventually hits Netflix or something. But I've kind of, unless there's shows that I'm really invested in, I've kind of stopped watching the weekly, because I have a DVR, I'll DVR the show, but it might be okay, Flash airs on Tuesdays. If I'm not in the mood to watch a Flash episode or an Arrow episode or whatever show, it doesn't have to just be those two. It could be The Blacklist. It could be anything. If I'm not in the mood to watch it on the night that it airs, I'll just leave it on the DVR and watch it 4, 5, 6. I may end up watching it a week later. There's only a few.
Well,
go ahead.
We've kind of gone to that period more so because, having kids, you have limited time to watch some of these shows when they're live. So usually we binge watch on the weekend, but some of the shows we catch them as they air. Like The Flash, we'll catch it while it airs. There's a lot of shows that some of them, we'll watch separately. I watch Blacklist on my own later after the fact, and I watch a couple of those other shows like that.
Yeah.
So, between the two of us, it's a balancing act of all of that, So, I totally get it. You pick and choose what you're going to watch live, and then some of it you just have to watch marathon later. I'm going to do that with Heroes and Continuum, just because we're still watching the other stuff.
Because I'm somewhat lazy, but at the same time I want to watch the show as it's live, I will wait until 30 minutes or 45 minutes into an hour-long show, so that way I can actually fast forward the commercials on the DVR, because none of the cable companies at this point have actually been able to invent the technology to actually fast forward live television. It has to be a DVR program in order to fast forward, so...
Well, not necessarily. You can do live television. The thing is if you pause it at the beginning of the show, and then you walk away.
Yeah, it's the same thing as DVRing it. Yeah, you're right. You can. But I'm saying, as the show is happening, you cannot fast forward. I've tried. It doesn't work.
That'll never happen.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. We live in an instantaneous world, so who knows? But yeah, no, the Flash Season 2, Arrow Season 4. Flash Season 2, I'm really excited. Arrow Season 4, I'm cautiously optimistic, I'll say.
I'm more excited for Season 4 than I was Season 3. Same thing with Gotham Season 2. I'm a lot more enthusiastic for it. Not only because I've managed to watch the first season. I did get that screener, and it's really good. More so because I don't have to see the commercials. I can jump through everything. Yeah. It's a lot nicer overall of a package. So it's and then all the kind of behind the scenes stuff that I got to see on the discs, it kind of put it in perspective, so it made it easier for me to want to watch it. So
right. I'm glad Mrs. Smith is gone. I think that was my biggest problem with one of my biggest problems with season 1 of Gotham. I didn't give a crap about Fish Mooney at all.
Well, she ain't, I wouldn't count her as dead yet. I mean, they can always bring her back later.
Well, I've read news articles where Pinkett Smith said she's done. She doesn't.
Yeah, she said she's done, but that doesn't mean anything.
Well, no, that's true.
They could disfigure her and have somebody else come back. I mean, and play her. But so, I mean, who knows?
That's true.
But you're also going to have Michael Chiklis in there, so
that's going to be interesting. I am really looking forward to that, because anyone that has seen Michael Chiklis in any television show, stuff like The Commish or The Shield or No Ordinary Family, for me, when it comes to Michael Chiklis, he is Vic Mackey from The Shield, and he is the only Hollywood actor who can actually play and do a good version of Ben Grimm the Thing.
Yep.
So, yep. But that's what's going on with me this week and my thoughts. Yay!
Alrighty, so with that, we will take a quick commercial break. Want to interact with the show? You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. You can email us, feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on geekcastradio.com or alteredgeek.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter @Altered Geek. Look for us every week on geekcastradio.com, of course, Stitcher Smart Radio, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and alteredgeek.com. And now, back to the show. Hello, and welcome back to Altered Geek Unlimited. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips. You may be wondering why I'm re-introing it after the break. Well, unfortunately, I didn't feel like recording after TFG1 Mike got offline, so I also had to kind of preface this, a new video card. So, in doing this, I needed to test out the video card, because everything I've read up on it states that it's better than my old one, but it's also it's better than my old one, but it's not better, if that makes any sense. So it's my original video card is a GeForce 8800 GTS 640 megabyte. It doesn't seem like a lot. My dad actually bought that card when it was new, so I'm sure it was like $600 or $500 or something when it was new. In any case, he had that in his system for a couple of years, like 3-4 years, and then I received it probably in 2010, and I've had it since. It's worked great, and it still works great. The only problem is with modern gaming, like Battlefield 4, for instance. I'm having issues playing the game because it keeps crashing. It keeps thinking that it keeps thinking that it's a 512 megabyte card, which to me is strange, being that it works fine, and then all of a sudden, like during the game, it'll crap out on me. So I decided to look for a new video card, and in the process, I came up with, for one, I can only afford to spend like $50-$60 on video card. I can't afford these state-of-the-art ones. My dad's actually currently running like a RAID, like Crossfire type thing. He's got 2 video cards daisy-chained together with a radiator system to liquid cool them. So, I mean, he's got a really nice setup. Don't get me wrong, I wish I could afford that, I just can't. The other thing is they gave me like an 850 or 840 or something megabyte graphics card. I would use it, except it doesn't fit in my case, because I have one of those like it's like a baby AT type of micro ATX type. It's a smaller tower. It's not one of those full size like stand up to the top of your desk towers. So I like it because it's small and I don't really need all that much. And also I got a memory card reader in the process so that I can actually It's a 72-in-1 for any SD card, basically. And so back to the video card. I got a GeForce GT 7200, or not 7200, 720. And it's a 2 gigabyte card, but the thing that, because I'm not very, like, I'm knowledgeable in computers, like when it comes to software and getting things to work and whatnot, but some of the hardware kind of baffles me sometimes. And the graphics card that I picked out, it has DDR3 memory, whereas the old video card has GDDR3, so it's graphics DDR. Also, there's a difference in processing power, memory bandwidth, and stuff like that. So, like, in that sense, the older card is actually a better card still. It actually dropped my Windows rating from a mind you, my hard drive is a 5.9% or rating on the Windows rating scale that they do when you do the properties on my computer. But it's because my hard drive, I don't have a solid state, so it's not going to be 7.2 or 7.9, which is the maximum. I find it weird that 7.9 is the maximum, but again, I don't know. So it's my video card, because of my new one, it bumped it to, because it goes by your lowest scores, what your score for your whole system is. I'm 7.2 across the board, other than the hard drive, which is 5.9, and the graphics card, which is 5.3, which my old graphics card, I got like a 6 point something. So, I mean, it's not that much of a difference, but it kind of baffles me that that's the case. And I can run RAID in my system because of the motherboard I picked out. I can do 2 video cards of the same kind. The only problem is I got to find 2 that are compatible with that, and I don't have that kind of money, so I had to buy that to kind of give myself a slight upgrade. Now, it also, the old card was made in 2006. The new one's made in 2013, so it's got a lot of the newer 3D technology and a lot of the new anti-aliasing graphics and whatnot. So it can handle a lot of the newer technologies, but at the same time, it's not as good of a card somehow. But any case, I played the game last night in place of recording this episode. And the graphics actually were pretty crisp. It was very realistic on a lot of the stuff because I pumped up the graphics power a lot higher. And I was pretty blown away by it. It's not moving any slower. I didn't crash out like I've been doing. It actually works really nice. So, I mean, I'm happy with my $50 investment in a video card. It's an EVGA brand. So yeah, there's that. And then my computer actually supports up to 32 gigabytes of memory, so at some point I'm going to upgrade that from 8 to probably 12 or 16. I have one more slot left, so in any case, I'm going to try and do that. But so yeah, just little upgrades to my computer. It's been nice. So that aside, should get into some of the news. Alrighty, so we pick up this journey into geekdom. Well, I think to start it out, because there's some of the articles I'm going to cover, some of them not, just because of time and purpose of it. Well, Comcast is rolling out a new charge for home internet users. Yes, that's right. If you go over 300 megabyte, or not megabyte, that wouldn't take very long, 300 gigabytes on your bandwidth throughout the month, in particular states, which that'll be in the links below, they're rolling out this thing where if you go over 300 gig for your high-speed internet cap, they're going to start charging you $10 per 15 gigabytes or something to that degree. It's going to get costly, is all I'm going to say. They're going to start doing what the phone companies have been doing for years in bandwidth capping and charging you for more and charging you for more for unlimited. It's $30 for unlimited on top of whatever you're paying for your bill now. So they are giving you a 3 months of free overages, basically. So if you have a couple months here or there that get free overages, they'll let you know, but they won't charge you. But if you do go over from then on, they're going to charge you. It's going to be kind of redonkulous, but they got to make up the money somehow, I guess, since nobody wants their cable service because it sucks. And then also, like, kind of getting into some tech stuff, I'm not a big Apple iPhone user. I know that they've announced all the iPhone 6 stuff and that it's going to be the same price as the old phones and whatnot. I'm not a huge fan of Apple anyway, so I'll probably wait for one of the guys that are actually more knowledgeable in the iPhone to actually talk about it. Pokemon Go revealed for Nintendo's iPhone strategy. I love how every company develops only for iPhone. You know, there are Android users that are actually even in the market than the iPhone. Like, Pokemon Go is supposed to be a major departure in terms of gameplay. I guess they are moving to Android too, but it's primarily going to be iPhone. That comes into play later in another article. But Pokemon Go is supposed to be a combination of Niantic's real-world gaming platform and one of the most, obviously beloved franchises in pop culture. It's supposed to be played on the smartphone with an optimal wearable Pokeball. Players are alerted to virtual Pokemon near their actual location, leading them to 4 distinct phases of play seen in the trailer, which is also in that article that is below. Players collect Pokemon in the world about them, trade collected Pokemon with friends directly on smartphones, battle other Pokemon, and finally attend timed public battles in specific locations. It goes on and on. It's not mentioned whether it'll work with 3DS or Wii U yet. I think that it'll be kind of interesting to see how this plays out, because depending on, let's put it this way. Nintendo gaming hasn't really been all that, it's been good, but it's not been all that enticing. The fact that they're jumping to smartphones to help market some of their properties is actually kind of brilliant, because then we get to this phase where you're going to see a lot more actual games come to the phones rather than all these kind of half-pint bullshit games that we've got to this point. And I'm saying that being nice. I don't play any of those games that are on the phones now. I used to play a bunch of games. For how limited that all is, I just don't care. That being said, I've played like Injustice Gods on the phone and so on. So, it's fun if you find the right games, but I think this will really lend itself well to this. Plus, it gives people an excuse to actually move and play the game, which is, again, another Nintendoism. So I kind of look forward to seeing what they're going to do with it. So anyways, there's a video sharing startup, Vivity, which basically wants to be the next Vine. I'm only linking to this because they sent me an invite for a alpha release of the software. The unfortunate part is, again, it's iPhone only, and I have an Android phone because I'm not a fan of Apple. Personal preference, I just don't like Apple. The main point about it is it's supposed to integrate into like Twitter, kind of like it's an interface much like Instagram, just from what the article I'm reading has about it and what I've looked into, because obviously I got a little bit of an insider stuff on it, but not enough to actually play with the stuff because the iPhone thing. But it has you record or import 6 2-second clips or whatnot. You can pull in videos that are on your phone. Pardon me. I'm recording this early in the morning. But anyways, it lets you add filters and prepackaged sets, and you can customize everything. You can give it saturation, temperature, highlights, shadows, sharpness, and apply a vignette to it. I think it'd be really cool. Just not sure about it entirely because I can't try it out. It looks interesting though. I would give it a shot if I actually had an iPhone. So maybe they'll come up with an Android version, and I'll get to use it. Wonder Woman is going to finally start beginning shooting in November for Wonder Woman's 75th anniversary. So that'll be awesome. I think that it'll be great once they get this first female superhero out on film, considering she's had, you know, the couple of TV shows or whatever, but I'm really surprised they haven't tried to do a female superhero sooner. And I don't mean like trying to do like that shitty Catwoman movie. I'm really surprised. Like, you think Marvel would have at least taken advantage of the fact they have Black Widow. I know that they put her in a lot of other films with all the other male stars, and I'm not like partial to any of them. Like, I don't particularly care for a lot of the characters in these superhero movies. I'm very narrow-sighted on who I like, and that's about it. Not saying I don't like the female characters, because I actually like them a lot more than I like some of the I would love to see a Wonder Woman movie. I could give 2 S's less about an Aquaman movie. I don't care about Aquaman. Wonder Woman's always kind of intriguing because she's, you know, this tactician and brilliant, strong woman that, you know, is basically an equal to Superman. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm also looking forward to seeing what they do. I know that they're bringing in Agent Carter. They're going to have a Black Widow, you know, because they were hinting at the Black Widow program that was earlier on. So they're saying that there's going to be more Black Widow in Agent Carter Season 2. So it's going to be, you know, I know that's kind of a weird tangent, but I was talking about, you know, the female characters anyway. So there is that. BotCon, I'm going to cover this again, this particular part about BotCon, being that it's going to be a Transformer-related thing, and I'm going to record a show for that. 2016 is going to be in Louisville, Kentucky. I was just in the one in Chicago for 2015. Really awesome. I enjoyed TFCon more for the fact that I knew a lot more people. I mean, granted, I did see a lot of people at BotCon that I know, so that was cool too. To me, both the shows were equal, but I enjoyed the guest aspect of it more at TFCon because, like, Scott McNeil I know he's an exception to the rule, but I got to talk to him for 10 minutes, you know, while I was getting his autograph and his picture. I mean, aside from those, like, I got to actually talk to the guy, which was awesome. And then a lot of the panels I actually got to attend at TFCon, whereas BotCon, because, you know, it's so large, and the fact that, you know, a lot of stuff was going on at the same time as other things, it was hard for me to do all that. So, like I said, the whole BotCon thing, I think TFG and Mike might be able to go to that one because it's actually in his hometown. I know it's in April. I would try to do it, but I don't know if I'm going to get the funding to do that. Plus, I'd have to take my family along if I'm going to drive all that way, so they'd have to have stuff to do too. And that Transformer scene isn't exactly my wife's forte. But I would go again. I don't think some of the pricing was that great because I think that a lot of it was a ripoff as far as the pricing compared to TFCon. But, you know, that being said, I still enjoyed the fun I had at the convention. So, likewise, TFCon. Again, sorry for the phone. I'm sure that was very faint in the background, but still, I'm recording at work on my phone. I need to actually buy a... So, yeah. Well, we've already talked Flash. We've already talked Arrow. I mean, obviously, Mike was right. There was a Flash trailer that came out last night that had Jay Garrick and more footage, so that was kind of cool. I think The Flash is like my favorite superhero television show at this point. I really enjoy Arrow. Don't get me wrong, I really love Arrow too. Season 3 was a little murky for me there. I didn't really care for it all that much, but I think with Season 4 they're going to really pick it up and run with it. But Flash, I find that I'm really enjoying that show because I know enough about the Flash to know what's going on, know who the people are, and that kind of stuff. But I don't know enough. Kind of like in the way Arrow. The thing with Arrow that pisses me off is the fact that a lot of it's like Batmanisms. But I mean, granted, he doesn't have that many of his own like rogues, as far as I'm concerned. Or as far as I know, I don't. I'm probably wrong. I'm not well versed in Green Arrow. I know more about Flash. But it's just a really well done show. I really enjoy Flash. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Has me pumped just for some of the stuff that's coming up in season 4? Yeah, it's 4. 3 or 4. I don't know. I can't keep track. I know that it's yeah. I'm looking forward to see what they do with Coulson's arm and that, but that's neither here nor there. In Gotham, I know I panned Gotham and I got feedback for this in my review of the Blu-ray set for Gotham. I got kind of panned because I bashed the crap out of the show in Remote Control. And then when I got the review done, I didn't bash it. I gave it an almost perfect score, like a 4.5 or, 9 overall out of 10. So the reasoning I did that is because I wasn't basing it purely off the show. I was basing it off of the fact that it's just the Blu-ray itself was really well done. The fact that it's a 4-disc set, the fact that the menu is interactive, has slide in, slide out menus depending on the area you're trying to investigate. The 4th disc has special features, and then it tells you what disc the other deleted scenes or outtakes are on. It tells you what disc it is, so it makes you pop the disc out and put the other disc in at that point in the menu. But I really enjoyed the deleted scenes. I really enjoyed the kind of behind the scenes kind of how the building of Gotham and the game of Cobblepot and the gag reel. I love gag reels. I don't know why. I think it's just because I like seeing the goofiness that goes on set and the fact that they're real people. Because you don't see actors and actresses, you don't see them as real people unless you actually see them in a real setting or like in a talk show or in a gag reel because, they're pre-programmed to play these characters so brilliantly that you don't even think of them as anything other than that character. So I love seeing that kind of like veil into the, the persona of the actor. So I gave it really good scores because the Blu-ray itself was actually really nice. The special features were great, pretty loaded up. You even had character profiles and everything else. Menu structure is pretty good. The cover and casing was really good. The show itself, I gave a higher score than probably it deserved, but after subsequent watching, because I've had to watch it numerous times for shows or reviews, it's gotten better. There's still aspects that drive me nuts, and I'm not saying I don't fast forward through the show, because I do. It's just... It's gotten better in some regards, because I have the full picture to put it together, so like things are kind of coming into focus as just like with any subsequent watching of anything. You pick up on different subtleties that are in the show, planted in different spots that you don't think mean anything, but they do. So it's just little things that you pick up on that. Because like my wife and I are watching Heroes right now in prep for Heroes Reborn. And we're in the Carnival section of Heroes, which I don't really like it. It's at the beginning of it. Like, Hero discovered he can time travel again and whatnot. And Nathan's discovering he's weird. And Parkman's discovered Siler's in his head. So I mean, I didn't like that season all that much, but we're getting through it so that we can watch the 15 minutes of or 20 minutes of the YouTube videos of Heroes Reborn that take place between Heroes and Heroes Reborn. So yeah, I'm picking up on different subtleties throughout the show that I never caught that lead to later and whatnot. So I mean, it's all connected. I'm not playing the DC card or Marvel card where it's all connected. So yeah, that's why I gave the review what I gave it. It had nothing to do with really... I mean, it didn't really have anything to do with the story. It had to do with the fact that the production and the Blu-ray were actually really well done. Now that I've bored the hell out of you on that tangent there, surprisingly, Warner Brothers wants more Batman in Batman vs. Superman and less Superman, which doesn't really sit well with me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Batman. He is my number one favorite character. I don't like any other superhero more than I like Batman. The only thing that bothers me about this is they've set Superman as their tentpole, their centerpiece for this new DC universe, and they've already flip-flopped it to Batman. And I get Batman's been around a long time in this universe. He's skilled, he's gruff, he's bitter. I get what they're doing here, but it doesn't make much sense to set up this raw new universe that is full of potential and then just have Batman be your catch-all. Now, it's a rumor at best right now. It's probably true. More often than not, a lot of this stuff turns out to be that way. But they're saying that in post-production that Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman Bruce Wayne is playing so much better than Henry Cavill's Clark Kent Superman. You also have to consider Ben Affleck's had a lot more screen time than Cavill. He's also had a lot more award-winning movies under his belt. He's directed movies. He's acted in a lot of movies. He's wrote movies. He's very experienced and very well-rounded in the film industry. So, yeah, he's going to play a lot better than Cavill. And yeah, it also depends on the movie. And, I know this movie is going to be very, very freaking dark because it's Zack Snyder and that's how he is. I'm not a huge fan of his either, but the only movie I really enjoyed of his was like Sucker Punch, and that was kind of like, meh, it's okay, but I'm hoping this changes my opinion of him. But again, I don't know why Warner is so scared to change their tentpole. Because, and as this article that I've linked here says, wouldn't it make more sense to kind of step away from Batman and the Joker being like the centerpieces? I mean, because Marvel even did it. They made Captain America and Iron Man and these guys that, yeah, they were primary characters, but they really didn't have the following that they should have had, and now they really have the following. So, again, I'm not really certain why they're going in this weird direction. Continuing on the superhero boat, though, there's Marvel's Jessica Jones. The trailer dropped earlier this week, and it's just a teaser. It doesn't really even show her. It just kind of shows some weird imagery and then saying Marvel, and then it's got her silhouette, and then it says Netflix. I mean, it's different. I'm not going to catch... I don't care about any of the Marvel shows that are going to be on Netflix. That's just me. I'm not going to watch any of them. They don't interest me. They're secondary, tertiary characters. There's no reason for me to get invested. So, kind of jumping onto the Transformers boat again. Yeah, I know. they're saying for Transformers 5 is going to go one of two directions. Or 1 to 2 directions. They're saying that the installment of the franchise will have two separate storylines. The first will feel familiar to longtime fans of the Transformers series, focusing on the return of Cade Yeager and the struggle with humans on Earth. The second thread, however, focuses more on the Transformers themselves, as well as the mythology behind their history and their struggle. It seems the ultimate endgame for Paramount is to take the franchise and hand it off to the robots rather than focus on the humans caught in the middle, which is all we've wanted from the freaking beginning. Why do we have to focus on all these craptastic characters that have nothing to do with the Transformers? I'm not saying that we haven't had humans in like Generation 1, but Spike and Sparkplug were really good characters. And then you look at, Sari in Transformers Anima. Yeah, she drove me nuts, but she was a good character. Then you look at Transformers Prime. You got all those characters. They were really well written. It's unlike the crap that's in the new Robots in Disguise. Those characters those humans suck. They're shallow. They're like one-dimensional. So, I mean, none of these characters, like humans from the Transformers movies, have been great. Not one has been great. So I'm kind of glad if they go in the direction of the Transformers themselves, which is what we've wanted from the start. And the fact that they've kind of killed off every one of the good villains that we had. I mean, yeah, I know they resurrected Megatron, but as Galvatron, which, whatever. I also wish they didn't look like these weird machine-looking things. But that's neither here nor there. That's just my fanboyism bitching. But I hope that they do go to the more robots, less humans. I think it could benefit this franchise a lot if they did that. And then, maybe we could end up with like a Unicron battle or, something like that. I don't know. Time will tell. So, I mean, yeah, that's about it as far as like the geeky news. I've got some other stuff, but it doesn't really mesh well to go into anymore. I think I've talked that to death. I had an idea for a topic, which, despite not having any guest hosts, I'm going to do it anyway. Because I think it'd be fun for you guys to figure this out too, just as much as it was for me to figure it out. And I like a particular set of movies, and at this point I have to figure out what the hell they are, because my class that I'm taking for college, they made us basically, like, the teacher went around yesterday and asked us all, if you were stuck on a deserted island, what would your number one favorite movie be that you could stand to watch over and over and over and not have you go nuts? And I'm sitting here trying to think of a movie and just nothing. Like, I'm just drawing a blank. And I have so many movies that are in my, I have like this top 40 list of movies that at any given point, they all rotate. And they all end up at number one at some point. So I'm having this blank of trying to figure out. So, like, to make it easier, what would your top 5 movies be? Because I think top 1 movie just makes it too hard. And if you're not putting them in any particular order and you're doing top 5, I think that this could work out really well for you. So I'd be really interested to see what your guys' top 5 are and see if they mesh with mine and whoever co-hosts next week. I'm looking forward to finding out what you guys have on your lists, just because I want to see how close it is to mine, or see what kind of tastes in movies you guys have. It's one of those interesting things because everybody's got this particular set of films that they like that may not necessarily mesh, because we're looking at the AFI Top 100, of all time favorites, and about 2/3 of the movies on that list
I've either A, never seen, or I never care to see, and I don't have any interest in ever watching or watching again. And the other third I've seen, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're ones I would watch again. And I know it's kind of like blasphemous to say that, because I know a lot of the movies have been around since like the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s that are on that list. But I have this hard time going back and watching films like pre-1980. There's something about the look to it I just can't get past. So, there's that. I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm yawning so much. I probably should edit it out, but it'd be a lot easier to do if I was on my desktop. Eventually I'm going to get a real microphone for my desk here at work and not have to use this damn phone. So, yeah, that'd pretty much be my question. I have some other stuff that I want to bring up, but I've got to wait for some co-hosts. Just because I think it'd be kind of a hollow conversation if I'm talking to myself on this. But I do have some good stuff coming. It's unfortunately I Mike had to bow out because of roommate. I was just out of it last night, and then Dodd's sick again, and yeah, it's just been a weird week. So getting into some of the comments, Ostron Prime says superhero fatigue since contracts are ending, etc. I wonder if Marvel will do the unthinkable and end their production after Infinity War Part 2, shelve their characters, and go silent for 10 years. By then, doing so will be pumping crap out, or DC will be pumping crap out, and fatigue will set in, aimed squarely at them. So yeah, to which I kind of said, yeah, I kind of don't see it happening, but that would be my thoughts too. Brad Lincoln says, as far as Force Friday, I went to a Toys R Us Force Friday opening, very disappointed. I got some of the stuff I wanted, but they had hardly any stock, literally 10 to 7, or 7 to 10 of everything, dyslexia. And they never put the one of everything for everybody. Like the rule to stop people scooping up 5 of the same things, because the first through the door cleared out all the Black Series figures in 30 seconds. People were just scooping multiple carts of these. He said he managed to get a Black Series Finn, which was hiding behind a shelf. One of those Kylo Ren Armor Up packs, and then a New Hope Han Solo Black Series. Jared says, as someone who has worked in retail, I can tell you it's not always the store's fault, especially with events like this. You're going to get a limited run on supplies no matter what you do, and especially if you aren't in a high-volume location. With Disney owning Star Wars now, this will only become more of a problem. Disney never matches supply with demand when it comes to action figures. The funny thing about that is all those figures are made by Hasbro. So I'm wondering if the store is partially responsible, if Disney's partially responsible, or if it's Hasbro. Because Disney doesn't make their own toys. And I'm going to call this right now. Give it a few years, but you remember that rumor that was going around about Disney and Hasbro? Mark my words, there will come a day in the next couple years, Hasbro will be bought out by Disney. So Disney will have a comic company, a Muppet company, a sci-fi company, I said a comic company, yeah, a comic production company, and they'll also have a toy company. All they need to do is buy a tech company and they'll be golden. They'll just go buy Microsoft. That'd just be weird. Your computer brought to you by Disney. So I'm going to end that show on that note. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, comments, suggestions, or if there's a special preview that you guys saw that you're looking forward to, like, you know, The Flash, The Arrow, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Gotham, really any show. I mean, it doesn't have to be those. I mean, I saw The Big Bang Theory with trailer with Leonard and Penny's wedding photos or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, if you're in any of those shows or whatever, just tell me what you're looking forward to for the fall. I've got quite a few shows that I'm looking forward to. I think Heroes is my most anticipated prior to Flash returning. So, yeah, just leave that in the comments below, and you can hold of me on Twitter at SCP21. And until next time, get Altered Geek Geeky with the Altered Geeks.